Well, Guy, I guess most of my life I spent as a combat soldier in command responsibilities, and the first thing that I've learned that I think is applicable right across the whole range of my activities throughout 60 odd years of serving on is really to be absolutely clear about what it is you want to do, to get the aim or your mission right, because if you get the aim wrong, even at a junior level, but certainly at more senior levels when you're running big organisations, then the whole emphasis in terms of research, planning, strategies, and then the resources allocated to implement them can be either falsely expended or largely wasted. And quite often it takes as much time to get the aim right as it does to actually develop the plan to sort that in. And the other thing I think is once you've got your aim or think fairly clear in your mind, is then to look around to see whether somebody's already dealt with the problem. And I found about 80% of the cases that I've been dealing with, whether it's with the flying doctor or whether it's in food and water issues, there is always somebody somewhere, it might be overseas, it might be the next door neighbour, who's actually dealt with it or dealt with a good part of it. And then you've got to see whether in that situation it's extrapolable to your own Australian or local condition. And I think the next thing then is to get a good team around you, of people who are enthused, and that would be my next sort of qualification, if I can put it that way, that if you haven't got real passion and enthusiasm for what it is you want to do, then you're not going to lead anyone because they'll see through you straight away. So I think that, and then once you're in the business of doing the job, to devolve the responsibility, give authority to people who are doing the job, trust them to do it, and to look after them, to always look after your people is very important at whatever level, junior level right up to the Chief Executive or the Prime Minister. Well, I think the lovely thing about the Global Foundation is firstly, it's been very well led by Steve Howard and the various chairmen, and it's attracted very, very high quality people to the foundation as a result from all walks of life, professions and indeed overseas interest. And I think they've been very good in terms of selecting topics that are of either global or national importance. And then, because they do have a good leadership team, attracting the top rate people to discuss these issues in pleasant surroundings and where there is no political bias at all. It is totally open and non-political in that sense, so people can speak very freely. And as a result, I think Global comes up with very good ideas. And I hope that, because I've been associated for a number of years now, that we'll move soon to the next iteration, which might be following up more on the ideas to the implementation and doing what we can to ensure good outcomes from whoever's taking on the particular task. I think that'll be another feather in Global's cap if that could be done. Well, if I was the head of the United Nations or the senior political leader of the G20, I would say a sustainable planet in all its forms, in food and water and resources to sustain 9 or 10 billion people and by 2050 is got to be the key. And how we go about doing that should be the focus of all our senior political people, entrepreneurial people, as a primary requirement. But if I related that to Australia, I would modify it a little bit in the terms of food and water and soil. As you may well realise, that my real pet hobby, serious hobby if I can put it that way, is to try and do something about restoring and maintaining the Australian landscape so that it's fit for purpose fit for agriculture, fit for catchment, fit for mining, fit for urban, and not just the landscape but our oceanscape as well. Because I think whether you believe in climate change or not, we have to understand that the CO2 levels now have gone from 270 parts per million at pre-industrial. They're now up to well over 400. 350 is the safety mark. We're going up 3 parts a million a year. We'll be 500 before too long. And 500 gets us into real trouble in terms of temperature, global warming, warming of the oceans, the impact on vegetation, coral reefs and so on. So I think from my point of view, I really want to move this agenda along, bring it right up to the front, so that all of us in Australia are thinking about this particular arena, and particularly as it relates to agriculture, because agriculture looks after about 60% of the Australian landscape. And I'm hoping that global and its subsets will help to push that along, because we haven't got much time to look after restore our degraded soils and our river systems and our wetlands and our forests and that sort of thing. So that's the key agenda for me. Well, it's wonderful to see the foundation prospering and bringing in such high quality people, and I hope that we will move to perhaps 1 or 2 key areas of focus that we can really do something about. It might take us 3 or 4 or 5 years, but if we can achieve real change in whatever it is we decide to take on, with a sustainable planet or whatever, then I think the global will really fulfil its potential.